Welcome back to Art Across Asia. Today, we're heading into the deep past, long before samurais, before Buddhist temples, before Japan even had an emperor, as we imagine today. We're talking about the mounded tombs of the Kofun period. Enormous earthworks that turned political power into landscape.
Today, we're going to focus on the Daisen Kofu tomb in Osaka. That is often called the Keystone Tomb.
It's attributed to Emperor Nintoku and is so massive you can't even understand its shape unless you see it from the sky.
Right, nearly 500 meters long, surrounded by 3 concentric moats, and built entirely by hand during the 5th century CE. When you stand next to it, you're not looking at a tomb, you're looking at a mountain made by people.
During the Yaoyi period, from around 300 BCE to 300 CE, elites were already being buried with bronze mirrors, jade mangatama beads, and Korean-style daggers. Archaeologists have discovered that many of these items were not locally made. The bronze blades resemble Liang and Ningxia types, and the mirrors likely originated from the Korean peninsula.
Then, we hit the transition into the Kofun period. And then, everything changes?
Yes, around the 3rd century CE, Yayoi practices like the use of dotaku bells was suddenly abandoned. Instead, communities started devoting all their resources to monumental burial mounds. And this isn't happening just in Japan. Korea's 3 kingdoms also built huge mounded tombs. Scholars now talk about mounded tomb cultures to describe this shared world.
The scale alone tells you something big was shifting.
The Chinese chronicle Wei Zi notes that during this period, Japan's many chiefdoms unified under a ruler, possibly Queen Himiko. Whether or not the details line up perfectly, what we do know is that powerful women played critical roles in the early state formation. The emergence of Kofun coincides with a political crisis that ends with the rise of Yamato state, centered in what is now the Osaka-Nara region.
Okay, very interesting. Let's zoom in on the form itself. The actual keyhole shape. What can you tell us about that?
That's a good point. The keyhole design is remarkable. The circular end likely presented heaven, while the square end marked the earthly realm. Some scholars think it connects to beliefs about the Taoist Queen Mother of the West. Others see it as an expansion of earlier Yayoi round tombs. Either way, it visually links the ruler to cosmic authority.
So it's not just a cool shape, it's ideology and geometry.
Exactly. The tomb literally materialized rulership.
The Daisen Kofu is enormous, about 40 acres in size, and its construction demanded an unprecedented amount of coordinated labor. But it wasn't just a huge pile of earth. The mound was deliberately built in 3 stepped tiers, each level carefully shaped and reinforced. Along every tier, craftsmen arranged long rows of cylindrical haniwa, forming a continuous boundary around the tomb. At the very top, another ring of haniwa encircled the summit, meaning the entire monument was visually framed by these terracotta makers. To move this much earth and place these thousands of haniwa required an enormous workforce. And importantly, the labor was never meant to be hidden. It was intentional. Every person who carried soil was participating in the creation of a shared political identity.
That is so insightful. And so the artifacts inside, when we do get access to the smaller Kofun, really tell the story?
Yes, they do. Excavated tombs contain gold crowns, gilt bronze ornaments, jade beads, bronze mirrors, and iron weapons. Materials that shout elite identity.
I love the haniwa. Soldiers, houses, horses, almost like a clay community surrounding the tomb.
Yes, good point, Pearson, exactly. The earliest haniwa was simple cylinders. By the 5th century, we get warrior figures in armor. In armor, horses with cylindrical legs, even dancers. They evolved from Yayoi jar stands, but in the Kofun period, they became guardians, makers of sacred boundary and symbols of social hierarchy. They served both ritual and political functions. They protected the dead spiritually while reminding the living of the ruler's power.
I keep thinking about how all this connects to other East Asian traditions we've studied. How does this all connect to what the professor has taught us?
Wei Zi notes that during this period, Japan's many chiefdoms unified under a ruler, possibly Queen Himiko. Whether or not the details line up perfectly, what we do know is that powerful women played critical roles in the early state formation. The emergence of Kofun coincides with a political crisis that ends with the rise of Yamato states, centered in what is now the Osaka Nara region.